We saw it happen with the big three. We saw it happen with the Williams sisters. When are we going to see this happen with Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz? Every golden generation needs an encore eventually. We've seen Carlos and Yannick turn into these sports defining rivalry on the men's side. Question we need to come back to is who's in the wings behind them? We're going to kind of bounce around a couple different countries, talk about established names, someone who's breaking through, and even the tier below that, the players that are a couple years out, but who people inside the sport are already talking about. Welcome to the Tiebreak Pod. We're going to talk about the next golden generations. Let's start where it always seems to begin nowadays, Spain. I talked about this with Javier on a podcast. Of course, we talked about Rafa Hodar, Carlos being established. We talked about Landaluce. We don't need to sell you on Carlos. We probably don't really need to sell you on Hodar anymore. But here's a stat that's going to surprise you. In 2026, Spain had 3 players 21 years of age or younger in the main draw of Roland Garros. Rafa Hodar, Martin Landaluce, and Daniel Merida. This has not happened for Spain since 05. That 05 group included names like Nadal, Almagro, Verdasco, Iminot Traver. Historically, that's the company that these 3 are keeping. Hodar's the first one to watch. 12 to 15 months ago, he was outside of the top 600. The top 600, not outside of the top 100, outside of the top 600. By March of 2026, he had already cracked into the top 100. By Roland Garros, he was already on the doorstep of the top 30. Carlos, he's already co-signed him, spoken very highly of him, said he's an outstanding player and that the two of them are going to push each other to the top, not just of Spanish tennis, but of world tennis. Landaluce, he's the Academy story. He came out of the Rafa Nadal Academy. He's the U.S. Open boys champion. He made the quarters both at Miami and Rome Masters this year. Then Merida, he's a clay court grinder. He's from Cordoba. He's been building his game around longer rallies, a clean two-handed backhand, just broke into the top 100. I think the way to look at this and to frame it is it's not a one guy has to carry the torch situation. And that's probably for the best with Spain being how Carlos has struggled with some injuries. Spain's stacking 3 deep behind Carlos. There's some insiders already looking at 2028 to 2030, wondering could any or all of these 3 youngsters turn into real contenders? Now, if Spain is about depth behind one superstar, Italy might be the best example of an entire golden generation while having that established superstar. Yannick Sinner, first Italian man in 50 years to win his home Masters event in Rome, second man ever after Novak Djokovic to complete the career Golden Masters. Right behind him, the no longer on the way, but who's already arrived, we have Flavio Cobolli, Lorenzo Musetti. Cobolli made his first Grand Slam final this year at Roland Garros, lost to Zverev, cracked the top 10 for the first time in his young career on June 8th. He also had a Wimbledon quarterfinal the year before. Italy currently has 6 men inside of the top 100. That is the 4th most of any country, behind the U.S., behind France, and Argentina. Dotteri, he deserves a bit of a mention too. He was born in Argentina, moved to Italy at 12, represents them. He beat Zverev in Rome this year. Below this have arrived not fully established tier, kind of the on the way. Italy had 8 players under 20 years old racking up ranking points this year, chasing a spot at the next gen finals. Lorenzo Carboni, Carlo Caniato, Filippo Romano, Federico Bondioli. But I think the spotlight 18 years old, already got some ATP wins, and there's some chatter that this youngster could be the biggest Italian talent to emerge since Sinner. Federico Sina. He is someone to keep that name, write it down, go follow him on Instagram. Could be something very, very special. This is the loudest golden generation. And let's take a look at maybe the most consistent one, probably the most quiet, and the country that does not get talked about enough for what it's built, what it's continuing to build, kind of a sleeper, so to speak, the Czech Republic. Jacob Minchik won the Miami Masters, under 25 years old. Jiri Lehecka, under 25 years old. Tomas Maček, under 25 years old. And then on the women's side, we have some established stars. Vondrousova, Krejcikova, Slam champions. Uchova, Noskova. And behind that group on the women's side, we have Teresa Valentova. She's a juniors slam winner, both singles and doubles at Roland Garros. Picked up some main draw wins at some majors, and she's getting close to breaking into that top 50. We also have Sarah Bejlik, Nikola Bartenkova, and they kind of round out that who's coming, who's on the way tier. And this isn't really a golden generation, one golden generation for Czech tennis. It's been a sustained pattern that's stretched across decades. It's totally different than the Spains, than the Italys, where they have a established, obvious superstar and then a wave, of depth behind them. It's just consistently creating solid players that are in the top 25, top 50 with long careers. And if we want to pop over across the Atlantic, speaking about who might have the deepest bench, got to look at the United States. But the question here for my home country is, can anyone actually become a true number one, become that established superstar? We have some good players consistently finishing the year in the top 10, top 15. Think of Ben Shelton, Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul's on his way, Francis Tiafoe. The established youngster, so to speak, younger player on the men's side, Lerner Tien. He'd gotten up to a career high of number 17 as of the end of June. He has a winning record against top 10 players. Youngest American man to reach an Aussie Open quarterfinal in over 20 years. Got Ethan Quinn. We got Alex Michelson. On the women's side, we could probably have a full episode just diving into Iva Jovic. She became the youngest American woman to win a WTA title since Coco Gauff back in 2021. Similar to Rafa Hodar, she was outside of the top 200 a year ago, and now she's seated at the majors. A tier below this group of names that you'd probably recognize, Darwin Blanche. He is training at Ferrero's Academy. He's practiced directly with Carlos Alcaraz. Not really broken out the way Lerner has or Jovic has, but that's the pipeline. Nishesh Basavaredi, it's another one. But focusing on women's tennis, I want to, and I know I talked a little bit about, particularly for the United States and as well as the Czech Republic, I want to take a step back, zoom out. The biggest story for youth women's tennis, for who's coming up, it's not about one nation. It's not about a group of nations. It is really a generational wave that's kind of crashing down all at once in a good way, but generational wave hitting at once, not crashing down. We could talk about some of the youngsters like Mira Andreeva out of Russia, top 5 player. She's a slam winner. Alex Ila, Filipino, country with basically no tennis infrastructure, and she's already top 30. Vicky Mboko out of Canada. She won the Montreal title as an 18-year-old. And in that tournament, she beat 4 different slam champions. And then Maya Joint recently took down Serena Williams. Did not show her best game there, but she is a grass court contender already. seems to be maybe not slams, but you're looking at other WTA events. She is a threat on the grass court. And then, on the men's side, he should not really be included here with, the global WTA youth movement. But Yao Fonseca, there's no other Brazilian teenager that's anywhere close to him. That infrastructure hasn't been there in the past. Will it be there in the future? But right now, he is kind of on an island there, totally different than what we see in Spain and Italy. And he's very exciting to watch. He's picked up a couple of good wins this year. And then, I mean, who's even younger than this group? Probably 80% of the names we just went through. Most people who watch it outside of a true casual fan will probably know 80% of those names. But younger than this group, I mean, who's coming after them? Who's going to be the generation that we're talking about in 5 years' time after, hopefully a few new major winners here? I think in Spain, it's whoever comes out of the Nadal Academy. That is a pipeline for them. I mean, Merida, we've talked about him. Lamas Ruiz, I mean, that academy has not stopped producing players. I don't think it's going to stop in the Czech Republic. It's the junior Grand Slam winners that are behind Valentova's age group. Czech Republic, it's a conveyor belt, essentially. It's not, there's no signs that it's slowing down. It is going to continue just to churn out some of those solid players. I think the smartest thing that we can say is that the timeline in tennis has been compressed majorly. It used to be, oh my goodness, that 19-year-old just reached the second week of a major. Now it's Minchik, Fonseca, Lerner Tien. They're not signaling, oh, hey, look what's in the future. They're actually making moves, deciding tournaments. Arthur Fies, he's a perfect example of how fast this moves. In 2023, he was the future. It's 2026. He's already established the goalpost on who the next generation is, what that runway looks like. When do they make noise and actually decide these tournaments? It's moving faster than it has in the past. It's only going to continue to speed up. A lot of these names that we went through, they've already started colliding in the biggest stage in the majors. They're going to continue to hopefully create some legendary rivalries. I'm probably going to revisit this start of next year, see, hey, who has gone even faster than how the goalposts have moved. Who's ahead of the curve? Who's behind the curve? Who's right on track? And who is a threat to win a major? Who is a threat to win these Masters events? Who's a threat to make it to the tour finals? Who's a threat for the 2028 Olympics that are 2 years away? A lot of these people are going to be established. Would not surprise me to see some of them representing their country on, I guess, the biggest international stage. I would love for some of these players take home some medals, whether it's singles, whether it's doubles. We'll see. Well, thank you for tuning in. This has been a fun episode, a little different than just going over Wimbledon and obviously having speaking of a condensed timeline, the Roland Garros to Wimbledon. It's a very quick turnaround. It's fun to talk about taking a 30,000-foot view. What could we look at that is on the horizon that we're already taking notes of? Thanks for listening. This is the Tiebreak Pod. Check us out, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and on socials. We'll catch you on the next one.